Good morning, everyone. This is the first episode of Off the Cuff podcast, hosted by me, Landon Corson. Um, for those that don't know me, which is probably not a lot, I am a college freshman. I go to the University of Missouri, and there's not a lot much else there to talk about. I just wanted to start a podcast because I have a lot of things on my mind all the time. And yeah, so I'm gonna talk. And what better way to talk than just sitting in front of a camera with my laptop at my side in case I want to look anything up. And in front of my phone, which is stacked on a little table. So this is like the set for now. I don't know what else I'm gonna do. I might buy some little things to put up because I know that this being gray is very it even messes with me. So I think I'm gonna buy something. I don't know. Since it's called Off the Cuff, it's supposed to be prison themed, and that's what it's gonna kind of be. So I'm thinking if I do prison bars. Yeah. Don't know how I'm gonna do that, but it'll happen. Don't you fret. Yeah. So, I go to Mizzou, formerly known University of Missouri Columbia, area code 65201. Yeah, I go there. It's fun. It's fun. It's been fun this semester. I mean, definitely some things that I didn't expect to happened, and a lot of changes. But also I feel like that happens to everyone. Because, it's freshman year of college, and you find people that you think are going to be forever in high school, and then you go to college together and it's not, and that's okay. So, it took a lot of change. And I mean, I've met people that I never would have met if I didn't branch out. And one of those people is my friend Jessie. And just I never would have. Wow, this got deep immediately. I never would have met her, and I never would have met a lot of people if I wouldn't have branched out and been social. Which, I mean, I know I'm a very social person, but yeah, and yeah. Well, I wrote a little list of things that I wanted to talk about on today's episode. Because I like to have a list. I like to go down things and check them. Guys, we have a lot to talk about today. If you're new to me and you've never met me before, I talk a lot. That's why I started this, is because I wanted to just be in a room by myself and talk to a camera and have someone to talk to. And yeah, and that's now you. So you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, no problem. Okay. I just wanted to go down the list and tell you guys some things that are probably going to be usual things on this podcast. And number one is probably going to be pop culture stuff. So movies, music, celebrity culture. I love that. I eat it up like it's my last meal. And yeah, so that's probably going to be something that's talked about a lot. I have a couple things lined up for that. And also probably going to talk about some, how do I word this? Just current events stuff. I mean, that also kind of lines up with pop culture, but current events, things that are going on, giving my opinions on certain stuff, which I know that it's an opinion. Ooh, sometimes we don't like those. And that's okay. But if you're here, then you probably don't care about my opinion and you just want to hear me talk. Um, so, yeah, yeah. I totally lost my train of thought there. It went out the window. Guys, that's gonna happen a lot on this pod, I fear. You guys are gonna have to get used to it. Um, and I don't want to hear anything about it. I don't want to hear anything about the ums. Sorry. See, it happens all the time. Anyways, let's get into it. So my first thing that I wanted to talk about today, because I can't go 20 minutes without talking about it to anyone, I can't have a lasting conversation with anyone that goes beyond 5 minutes without talking about Wicked. I love that movie. Um, I have never seen, I mean, I had never seen it live on Broadway. I'd watched a couple of productions and also, like, I knew the backstory on it. I knew what it was. Um, I was surprised whenever people did not know what it was. Like, how do you not put it together whenever the good witch is named Glinda and there's another green witch like there was in The Wizard of Oz? And people who have never seen The Wizard of Oz, what are you doing? Were you raised right? I'm joking. I'm just joking. Please don't get mad at me. Please don't cancel me, internet. But if you haven't watched The Wizard of Oz, go do that ASAP, because that's so... It's like the first... Was it? It wasn't... That's why I have my computer. Alright, let's look this up. I use a MacBook. So, here, I'm going to put this down for just a second. No, okay. So, stupid me thought that The Wizard of Oz was the first film to use Technicolor ever. But no, it was not. It was the first movie. This is what the AI overview on Safari says. No, The Wizard of Oz was not the first film to use Technicolor, but it was one of the first to show the power of color and draw audiences to theaters. Yeah, 1938 is crazy. 1938 is so wild. No, it's 1939? I thought it was 1938. Guys. Yeah, that's actually really interesting. But guys, the things that happened on the set of that movie are crazy. I know that most people know, even if you haven't seen The Wizard of Oz, you know what happened on set. But I'm gonna talk about it anyways. So let's look it up real quick. Okay. So here's some things. So it says, like, okay, these are some pretty common things that, like, everyone knows that Judy Garland was, like, not treated well on set of that at all, and it, like, she was undergoing, like, drug abuse and, like, molestation, stuff like that. Please don't demonetize me. But yeah, she was given pills to make her work longer, like, the Munchkins, I guess, the people that played the Munchkins would, like, touch her inappropriately, which is so crazy. But, like, the thing was, nobody cared at the time. Like, nobody cared. I mean, of course, like, there was people that did. But the majority of people were like, well, oh well. Oh well. Judy Garland, oh my gosh, the things she has been through. Like, I've done, like, a little study on her, but not, like, really intensively. I got a TikTok on my For You page the other day where she was in, or that she was doing, like, this movie or something, and she had to be in, was playing a person of color, and it did not, like, you look back and, like, that was so normalized in that time, and now it's, like, and to think, like, that role is what got her Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. Hey, are we not gonna talk about that? Because they were like, Yeah, the girl that's basically doing blackface. Let's just put her in our movie. Let's do it. But I'm just gonna go down the list here of what happened. Because this is also AI overview on Safari. I'm not doing a deep dive, y'all. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. The first thing that pops up, I'm gonna read it. If you want to do your research on your own, do it. I'm just giving basic information. So, basically, I know there was a lot of like health issues that they had on set because like it was so hot on set, I guess, that like people were like fainting and having like heat stroke and heat exhaustion. How does it get that hot? How does it get that hot? Um, okay. So if you haven't seen The Wizard of Oz, I'm gonna spoil it. I'm going to spoil it. You should have seen it by now. Sorry, not sorry. So in this scene where they're in the like the poppy fields. Sorry for having to think. They whenever they were in the poppy fields. Oh my god! Whenever they were in the poppy fields and it starts snowing, that was asbestos. Literally a carcinogen. A carcinogen. And they're like, yeah, make it snow. Yeah, let's do it. I have to think, like, people back then did not know what they were doing. They didn't. How could you? How dare you? I've never yelled at a girl like this in my life. I'm gonna do that a lot. I'm gonna reference TikToks a lot on this podcast, guys. Um, the Tin Man, to make him like silver and look like tin, they basically they put aluminum dust on his face, which then like literally it was toxic. It was copper based and it was highly toxic. What do you mean? Like, and maybe they didn't know back then that it was gonna be so toxic. Maybe they didn't like, but it's so crazy to think about that. Like, that's actually wild. Um. Oh yeah, this one's not on here, but I do remember this. Um. The guy that played the Scarecrow, he had to wear like a burlap sack basically on his face. Cause why not? And he like had permanent scars from it on his face because it was so like rough on his skin that he literally walked away with like permanent scars. Um, what do you mean permanent scars on your face? I mean, it's like a keepsake. It's like a keepsake at that point. Right. And then the Wicked Witch of the West, who's played by Margaret Hamilton. Where is she now? Probably dead. Um, yeah. And so she played the Wicked Witch of the West, and whenever they did the like the fire scene for her like trying to disappear out of Munchkin Land, I think it was. I haven't watched the movie in a long time. But whenever they did like a little fire effect to make like people be like, how did they do that? It's 1938. And they set it off too early, and she was literally burned. Like, literally burned. Like, I don't know what degree burn. I was gonna say like 3rd-degree burn, but I don't know. Guys, I don't know. I'll look into it. Yeah. And so anyways, Wicked, if you haven't seen it, I'm probably gonna do spoilers. Well, yeah. That movie, literally one of the greatest things I've seen in forever. I've seen it 4 times, and the last time I saw it was with my friend Jessie in the theater. She had not seen Wicked or heard of it before. And to see someone make the connections between like part 1 and part 2, because part 2 of course is not out yet, but to see someone make those connections and like realize, like we walked out of that theater and my friend Jessie was like, I almost cried like 7 times throughout that movie. Like, that's how beautiful it was made and like how good the story is. And yeah, I'd have to agree. Like, can we please start as a world and as a globe? Can we please start respecting Broadway musicals more? Because I know a lot of people love them, but dear God, they are not respected enough for the stories that they tell. Like, and everyone knows Hamilton. Everyone knows, um, like the basics. Like Dear Evan Hansen's a big one now that the Mean Girls movie was out, which wasn't recepted really well. Um, like movie musicals and even just Broadway musicals, they put some credit on their name because I Broadway musicals are literally so I've never like watched or disliked a Broadway musical. That is how good they are. And I know Lin-Manuel Miranda writes a lot of them, like In the Heights, and everyone made that edit in like, was it 2020, 2021, where it's like the Don't Make Me Laugh, I've been trying all night. That one. Real nice. I'm leaving Vanessa. Yeah. Yes. Um, but like Dear Evan Hansen, which is a pretty well known one. Like, and Ben Platt was not the move for the movie. Although they, you know, did make that movie for him. Anyways, so I love Broadway musicals. You guys are probably so sick of me already, but I'm gonna keep talking. Anyways, Wicked. Let's get back on that because now I've been talking for like 10-15 minutes about The Wizard of Oz, and that was your background. See, yes, I set up a story for you. I make sure that the evidence is there and the info is there for you guys. I do that for you. Yeah. Anyways, Wicked. A lot of people, I think that Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande were the best possible people for this role. I know a lot of people were saying Dove Cameron for Glinda, or even like I saw that like Renee Rapp and Amanda Seyfried, they both auditioned for it. I think Ariana, who has wanted this for so long, like there's literally evidence with that tweet. I think she deserved it. She was really good in the movie. And a lot of people were underestimating her and they weren't expecting that. But you know who never doubted her? I mean, as a person that listens to Ariana Grande's music, I saw a complete and total switch from her. Like it was, and like people, can we please put more respect on her name? Like I know that like there's a lot of people that hated on her and that didn't want her like to be Glinda because it is such a big role, and like Wicked is one the second, if not the first, most popular. See what I did there? The Broadway musicals of all time. And I know that a lot of people needed that to be in good hands, but I think Ariana Grande took that role and made it so her own, but also like kept the character of Glinda. And I walked out of that with my mom, and she was like, you know what? I don't really like Ariana Grande as a person after everything that you see in the media, which the media is there for a good story, but we'll talk about that later. And it's like she really worked and she changed for this role. And meanwhile, like she was going through a divorce, and everyone was like talking about Ethan Slater and her and how he left his baby and his high school sweetheart who was his wife. But you gotta realize, like, sometimes celebrities aren't there for our viewing, and what goes on in their private lives is their own. Like, you don't like all of your business out there, but then you want to talk about Ariana Grande, like, stealing someone else's man. And it's just very, like, I think almost hypocritical in a way, the way that we almost treat celebrities. And we see that now with, like, Chappell Roan and, like, a lot of people who are standing out and, like, saying, I don't like being treated like this. Just because, I mean, like, yes, fame comes with a job, but I think that we need, and although, like, I talk about celebrities a lot, and yes, I do have an obsession with it, we need to stop, like, the overly obsession. Like, if you see, like, your favorite artist on the street, and, like, it's okay to be like, oh my gosh, like, that's so, oh my gosh, that's my favorite, like, artist, wow, but don't, like, run up to them and be like, oh my god, I need a picture, oh my god, you're Chappell Roan, oh my god, you're Ariana Grande, you're like, that would stress, imagine if you were in that position, that would stress you out, and it stresses everyone out, and, you know, anyways, God, I need to get back to Wicked. I've been talking for 20 minutes now. And I have not even finished my first plot point. Oh. Well, here we are. But Wicked was so good. I don't have, like, every time I've seen it, I've noticed new things. And, like, I've picked up on new things. And oh my gosh, wait. I have to go on another little thing here. I saw a TikTok of Ben Shapiro. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He was queening out over Wicked. He was literally talking. I literally watched the TikTok, and it was like a 10-minute TikTok about him talking about Wicked and literally, like, rating it and, like, giving his critiques. And I've never seen someone who's so, like, into politics and, like, talks so heavily about politics and, like, da-da-da. Like, he was on that one Jubilee show where it's, like, surrounded by 20 liberal college students or whatever it is. He was screaming out over it. Oh my god, I literally sat there and laughed for 10 minutes. He was talking about Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. He was like, Cynthia Erivo is so amazing. And, like, he was talking about how, like, Defying Gravity had too many breaks in it, which I was like, okay, acceptable, but, like, yeah, like, oh, never expected that out of Ben Shapiro. Never expected that. Not once did I expect that, guys. Anyways. What do you guys think about it? Let's ask the audience. Okay, I'm done with the bit now. What else did I want to talk about today? Oh my gosh. Well, since we're on the topic, those little Jubilee shows, oh my god. That one little episode that they have, it's called The Button, where they like do, like, blind dates almost. And they put them in the room together, and there's a button in the middle of the table, and if you hit the button, then, you know, you move on to the next person. And oh my god, the TikTok clips I see on that show send me every time. Every single time. Especially that one where it's like, he literally walks in, not even 2 seconds later, the button has not lit up yet, because the button will light up, and then you can hit it. And he literally walks in, not even 2 seconds later, the button has not lit up yet. This is so embarrassing for her. I literally felt like an embarrassment. Boom, she goes and hits it. He didn't even get a chance to say hello or say his name. And she's like, sorry. She keeps trying to hit it. Sorry, this is so awkward. Sorry. Girl. At that point, I'm getting up and I'm leaving. Move on to the next person. There's so many things with that show. And Jubilee's just a messy, like, YouTube channel. But I eat it up. Like, that one, oh my god, the most iconic, is it Jubilee? I think it's Jubilee. And, of course, the most iconic moment, if you don't know what I'm referencing, you have lived under a rock. Did you ever experience the pandemic and coronavirus TikTok? And, like, quarantine TikTok? Did you? And with that, and I'm gonna take your hand when I say this. Nina, Yeah, Nina. Where is Nina now? I know where Fish Girl is now, but we have to forget that the Fish Girl is not Nina. She was talking about another girl named Nina. I'm gonna look this up, and I don't know if I'm gonna get an answer. So hang tight. Well, yeah, I didn't find anything. Is this her? No. Well, no. Um, Jordan. Jordan is the Fish Girl's name. Oh my god, Jubilee literally raised me. I would watch every single video, every single one. Um, oh my gosh, it just popped up on my computer because I was clicking on tabs. I watched 3 movies last night. And I'm gonna talk about them all. And I'm gonna talk about them all in depth. Um, so number 1 that I started with was Don't Look Up with Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Timothée Chalamet. Forgot he was in that. Ariana Grande's in it too. Why am I gravitated towards an Ariana Grande movie 24/7, guys? Not sure, but it'll happen. And who else is in that? Kate Blanchett. Is Tyler Perry in it? Yeah, I think so. Meryl Streep. That's such a star-studded cast. I love that movie. It's literally, although it literally is a movie about the apocalypse and like the world ending, comfort movie. And now watching it as like someone, like over the past couple of weeks, what has happened, the past couple of months, I should say, that movie is so real. Is it not real, guys? Is it not real? Like, because it's basically, if you don't know, Don't Look Up. I'm going to spoil it because it's been out for 4 years now. It came out in 2020. But it was basically these 2 scientists, Dr. Minty, and I don't know what, I think her name is Kate something. They find a comet, and they find out that it is going to hit Earth, and it's literally a planet killer. Like, it's so massive that it's going to hit Earth. And so, basically, what ends up happening is they find this out, they report it, they get brought up to, like, the White House, and everyone at the White House is like, well, what's the problem? Like, what's really gonna happen? And they're like, we're gonna die if we don't deflect it. Like, we have to do something soon. And the comet's gonna hit in 6 days. And not 6 days. 6 months, mind you. Excuse me. But the comet's gonna hit in 6 months and 14 days. And the crazy thing is, nobody seems to care. The president, who is Meryl Streep, who is President Orleans, she doesn't care. She is like, well, we'll figure it out whenever we get closer to time. Like, we'll do something about it. And then when it finally gets to like they're going to deflect it, this is what pisses me off about this movie. Because I think that if we were in this situation in like 2016, it would have happened. But they find out whenever they go to deflect. By the way, the president's biggest contributor is a multimillionaire with a tech company. Anyone have any similarities they want to say? Anyone want to say anything about that? Right. So, basically, what happens is whenever they go to deflect the literal comet that's going to hit Earth, the literal planet killer hurtling towards Earth, they find out that it has $36.2 trillion worth of minerals that they are scarce on. And if they cancel, by the way, the deflation trip, like the mission is already active and like they're already in space. They turn them around. Okay. Consumer taxpayer money wasted. And they say, okay, well, we're gonna try this new mission where it'll have to be closer to time, like right before it's about to hit, and they're going to basically they're gonna try to break up the comet into like smaller pieces. That way, it can still hit the Earth, and there won't be like so much damage. And I guess there's just so much in this movie that I'm like, wow. And basically, what ends up happening, it's like proven that this mission that they're gonna try to break this comet up is not gonna work. It hasn't been peer reviewed. Basically, anyone that doesn't agree with it has been like kicked out of the government, kicked out of all the scientific studies if you don't agree with it. And it becomes like this political thing too, where like the people are like, oh, well, the comet is gonna bring new jobs, and like the comet's gonna make us rich. Well, then one of the characters, Kate, she's sitting in a restaurant with Dr. Mindy and Dr. Oglethorpe, who is one of the people at NASA, and the people around her hear her talking about like the comet, and they're like, "What's going on? Can like you tell us?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. They want to like this mission is going to fail, and we're all gonna." She and then like a big riot starts, and the government takes her, and they're like, "Well, you're gonna go off the grid. Like you're gonna like." The lengths that they go to protect their like view and their thing is so crazy in this movie. Um, and I just think that it's like it's very real. I think that humans like are so greedy, and that we are like we would do anything to be rich. We would do anything besides help each other. We would risk our own lives. We would risk everyone around us, our neighbors. We would risk their lives for money. And this movie like talks about that very well. And I know that like a lot of people think that it's like, this would never happen. Well, spoiler alert for you about this movie. At the end, the mission that they have to break up the comet fails like it was always going to, and the comet is still whole, and it hits Earth and it kills everyone except for the top 1% who they get on like a ship, and they leave, and then like 32,000 years later they've been in like these cryo chambers to keep them alive, and they find a new planet, and they go on and they immediately get killed because they're so confident that they're still the number one species. And I think that human boldness and human confidence is so like, I think that some people, whenever you have a lot of money and whenever life has been like incredibly, like you've always had everything handed to you. And I mean, like, I know, I'm still young and I haven't experienced the fullness of life. But I think that whenever you do live that kind of lifestyle where you are rich and you've never had to worry about money in your life, like you don't think about money constantly, I think that that brings a new level of boldness to people, and they think they can do whatever they want. And I mean, we see it all the time. We see it in media, we see it in, you know, we see it with celebrities, and it's almost sad because like being rich and famous, kind of connecting back to earlier, almost takes the life away from you. Like it takes away your almost humanity, I think. But who am I to talk about it? Number two movie. How long did I talk about that for? Probably a good long amount of time. Um, Number two movie was Work It. I had to change it up after that sad ending because Don't Look Up almost makes me cry every time it ends because, you know, in the end, all the characters are surrounded by the people they love. And, like, one of the last lines is, I'm grateful that we tried, but we really had everything. Oh my god, guys, that's so sad. We really had everything. And, like, they had everything that they needed to live. They had, like, but again, it was greed. It was greed that made, and of course, like, those people, they had the ship, so they knew that like, the repercussions of it didn't matter. And, like, they knew they were going to be okay no matter what. Or that at least they thought. But they get to this new planet and they all die. Anyways, moving on to Work It. Sabrina Carpenter, Jordan Fisher, Liza Koshy. It's also, like, got some other people. I don't know their names. I've seen them in a couple of things, though. This movie is immaculate. It's probably my biggest comfort movie. And, excuse me, I've been a Sabrina Carpenter stan since day one, guys. Since day one. Girl Meets World, even maybe before that. But this movie, immaculate. And, it was before Sabrina was, like, really blonde. She was almost kind of like a half blonde, half brunette. This movie is so immaculate. Liza Koshy is the funniest thing in this movie, and I think that she gets a lot of hate now, but she was really good in that movie. She was really good. And I laughed. I sure did laugh. The best scene in that whole movie, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to spoil it. That's going to be a thing from now on, guys. If I talk about something, I'm going to spoil it. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. Thank you for understanding if that's not your thing. But this movie, guys. This movie. That one scene where they're practicing, they want to try their dancing in front of a live audience. If you don't know the concept of the movie, I'll explain it really quickly. Basically, main character Quinn, who is played by Sabrina Carpenter, wants to get into Duke because her dad went there, and her dad's now passed away, and she wants to feel closer to her dad, so she wants to go to Duke, and basically she meets with the admissions lady, and the admissions lady is like, so, hey, your grades, they're perfect. You have, like, a 4.3 cumulative GPA. You've been all the extracurriculars that, like, nerds would be in. And she's like, you would normally be a shoo-in, but I'm not feeling it. And you're not, no one's special whenever they just do that. And so she's like, oh, actually, I have, at the dance team at my school, the Thunderbirds, I'm part of that. P.S., she's not. She did lights for them. Whenever they would do their performances. And so she goes and she, like, basically, she is so uncoordinated, she does not know how to dance. And then she, like, her friend, Jazz, who is played by Liza Koshy, is on the Thunderbirds and kind of teaches her how to dance. Well, then, she auditions for the Thunderbirds, doesn't get in, so she decides to start her own new team. And Jordan Fisher, who plays Jake Taylor, becomes the, like, choreographer, and, they basically, there's this big dance competition, and they end up going and winning it, they're the underdogs, whatever. But, yeah, Liza Koshy was really, Jordan Fisher, oh my gosh, who plays Jake Taylor. He was so good in this movie, and I did not know that Jordan Fisher, like, I knew that he was, like, big in Broadway nowadays, but I did not know that he was so good at dancing. And that's something that I think that, like, not a lot of people knew. I, like, knew that he did music in the past. Don't listen to that. And Sabrina Carpenter, we've seen her dance moves. We've all seen the Short and Sweet tour. We've all seen the Juno positions. We've all seen, like, all sorts of stuff. And we know that she kind of has that talent. But what's crazy is that all of them, except for Liza, Liza came from, like, YouTube. And the rest of them came from Disney, didn't they? Because wasn't Jordan Fisher on Disney? I'm going to look it up. Yes, he was in Teen Beach Movie. Oh my god, I love Teen Beach Movie. Listen, there are so many things that, like, wait, he was in Liv and Maddie too. Oh my god, Liv and Maddie, guys. Oh, we love a good Disney Channel star. And Sabrina came from Disney too, with like, because Disney had her in that contract for however long. But, wow. Sabrina Carpenter, talented. And a lot of people are like, oh, she's just like another like pop star who who can't actually sing. If you heard her live, yeah, you'd admit she can sing. But yeah, this movie, Work It, so good. I say that about every movie I watch, guys. I love film. But forehead reveal. So good. And like I think the real villain in that movie was not Juilliard, who is like the other dance team captain. It wasn't like, the other dance team, their rivals basically. It was Sabrina Carpenter's mom in this movie, Quinn's mom. Basically was like, well, your grades are bad because you've been dancing so much, so you're gonna quit that because you're not gonna get into Duke. You don't have a single chance if you don't get your grades up. Oh. And then shocker, at the end of the movie, she's like, oh yeah, actually you're really good at dancing and like I'm so proud of you. And of course Jordan Fisher and Sabrina Carpenter are lovers by the end of the movie. Honestly, this movie has great plot. Honestly, yeah. Honestly, yes. And people can hate on movies that I like. I don't care. I stopped caring, guys. And then number 3, A Simple Favor. Who was going to tell me that this movie... Okay, so I'd watched it before. I've seen all these movies before. A Simple Favor, so good. Again, another so good. I need to have like a so good counter. Like up here. Hello? Yeah, right there. We'll see if it happens. It may not. And I don't want to spoil it because like literally this is a movie that if you have not seen it, you have to watch it. You have to, like, half of the plot turns and the plot twists, I'm like, I still, even now, after seeing it the second time, I'm like, and that's another movie, oh my gosh, this just popped into my head. If you have not seen this movie, please go watch it. Simple Favor, put this on your Letterboxd want to watch list. And I think they're both on Netflix. Number 1, A Simple Favor. Number 2, Missing. That movie. I've talked about movies now for 20 minutes, guys. 20 minutes. I've talked about movies. Do I care? No. Okay, let's move on from movies because you guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about that. But I don't know what else I would want to talk about. I've talked about Wicked, The Wizard of Oz, Work It, Don't Look Up, Simple Favor, and now Missing. Yeah. This is... I mean, I love film, guys. But, you know what? It popped into my head, so I'm going to talk about it. Okay, so this is my first semester at Mizzou. And we're going back to Mizzou, I guess. And I liked all of my classes except for one. Do y'all want to take a guess? Right. It's philosophy. I'm sure you all guessed that. My teacher was awful. I didn't like it. I played Block Blast. I'm so glad that game is popular because I literally can like bond with anyone over Block Blast now. And my philosophy teacher was so bad. I didn't understand half of what happened in that course. I mean, I know I passed the class, but like, it just was not. If you don't have to take that class in college, guys, don't. Because it will burn you out so quickly. And I think that's something that like college professors really need to like. My thing is, and I've always said this about like education in general, if I'm not interested, I'm probably never gonna be interested. Like, you have to capture my attention very quickly. And if it's something that I'm not interested in the first place, it's probably not something that I'm ever gonna be interested in unless you can really capture my attention. And this class didn't do that for me. Like, all of my other classes, I feel like I can take something away and I learned something from them. But I don't think that I actually did from that class. And like philosophy, it's not really that important. It was more of a history of philosophy instead of like learning how to use philosophy yourself, which, like, what else can you do? But I would have loved to learn more about like how can I use that instead of it. And most of the time, like, the teacher would just be like, okay, come up with an argument for this using like an example from history. And you'd give an example and he'd be like, yeah, but no. And that always would be a caveat, which I think was so like, I don't know, like I could never get a win in that class. But yeah, who knows? I liked all my other classes like biology. I love science, guys. I've known that's what I wanted to do since I was very little. And I like all of my other classes this semester captured my attention, or I can take something away from that, or I know something now. Like, my health sciences class taught me what I'm gonna need to go on in like my future courses, but my philosophy class didn't teach me anything. And that's why I'm taking like classes next semester, I think, that are gonna help me and that are gonna be helpful. Because it's, I think education is so, like, it should be something that you enjoy because you're learning something. And personally, I love learning new things. I love, like, putting my hands on new things and, like, being able to work with new things. And that class didn't do it for me. So, like, next semester, I'm taking, like, genetics, which I'm excited for, and, like, chemistry, which I know is going to be such a burden. But, like, so I'm excited to learn that. And I think that if you don't have a teacher or a professor that really is going to challenge you in that course and really like make you feel, you know, like you're learning something, then it's probably not exactly like it's not you're not gonna take something away from it. Well, anyways, guys, this is gonna be the first episode. I'm gonna probably wrap up here. But if you enjoyed this first episode and if you're still here, I want to say a huge thank you for listening. And subscribe to this channel. And I'm going to try to get episodes out every probably, well, what is today? It's Thursday. Probably every Thursday night, I'm probably going to record them on like either Wednesday night or Thursday morning and have them out by Thursday night. So that's like kind of the schedule I want to go for there. Leave some comments about your opinions on stuff I talked about, and also leave comments on things that you think I should talk about next episode. But with that, guys, my stomach has been rumbling for 10 minutes now. So I'm gonna go. But thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!